Now when I'm learning to handstand, if I can minimize the amount of moving parts, stepping very slowly into the handstand and stop this happening, balance is going to be much, much easier. So that's what the stag position and the half stag position gives us. And that's what I'm going to go through today. I'm going to go through variations against the wall and freestanding, so it covers all levels. Now in the freestanding handstand, now ideally we want to be able to get into this line and keep the body as one segment. But we have two big joints in the body. We have the hips that like to move, and then we have the shoulders that like to move. Now I really like people to learn to handstand more with their shoulders because it's closer to the floor. What we don't want to happen is too much involvement from the hips while we're trying to balance. And that's where this single leg stag or double leg stag comes in very useful, because it mummifies the body a little bit. It makes the body tight, very similar to the way a crow handstand or crow arm balance is easy to hold, because it makes the body one piece and you can really just focus on that one thing balancing instead of lots of different moving parts at once. So if I can close this hip flexion and make it one piece, close the knee as well and make that one piece, that mummifies this part. It makes the leg as part of the torso. So let's first try that against the wall. So we know the heel pull drill. I use the fingertips to pull the heels off the wall and then I come back again. Now it's very dependent on the body being one piece. If I bring this leg down now, close that hip flexor, close that knee, pull the leg as close to the body as I can without it affecting the shoulders, keeping the shoulders nicely on top of the hands, I can then pull away much easier, one because my leg is on that side of the body, but also because then I don't have this delayed leg that's too up and away. You see what happens here? This can happen and I can arch away. This helps me keep the body tucked in that one piece. I can pull off, hold and go back again. It's much easier to control the position just using the shoulders and not have that leg flapping about. So I could work just repetitions of that, pulling on and off the wall. I could do holds, pull off and hold, exactly as we do with that straight body position. Now remember, the straight body position is the ideal. We ideally want to be able to control both the hip and the shoulder and have that as the home position, but this is just going to give us more balance time while we're learning. We could also do exactly the same, but enter the position as we pull off the wall. So I pull off the wall, bring the leg down, lock it in position and balance there. Ideally I'll be able to come up to straight again and swap sides, but obviously that's much harder. We might want to come on and off the wall as we do that. So come down into the position, go back into straight, go back to the wall, pull back with the other leg, pull off the wall, go back to straight, go back, and different variations of that. So you're pulling on and off the wall, locking that hip flexor when you need it, and just learning to control the balance more with the shoulders, less with the hips. Now exactly the same, but the double stag. Now with the double stag, it's a little bit fiddly to get the back leg in. So one way of doing it is to go a little bit further away from the wall, so you make that distance and you can play with that position. Get that foot to go over. Now ideally you would go there, so the top of the toes on it, close this one, then flex the back leg. So I'm going to flex the knee so it takes the toe off the wall, and then I can balance that. So again, you can see I've locked that into position now. There's no movement in the hips because it's locked. One of the mistakes people make is they be like this when they're in the stag, and this is still loose. We want to lock it in position and hold it there. Now again, I could play with that. I could change legs. I could pull on and off the wall. I could do holds. You just need to work out what distance you need to be away from the wall. So with the freestanding version, I could kick directly to that. So this leg is going to be my straight leg. The second leg up is going to be my bent leg. As soon as I kick, I close that hip, close that knee, lock it in position. See how still that is? And then obviously I could do the same. I could go up to straight if I have it and back down. Now that's much more advanced, but you could do that and then come back out. Now exactly the same with the double stag, but with the double stag, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bend this leg and I'm going to bend this leg straight away. So this one just goes up and over, and I close the knee hard, and the second leg closes in the hip flexor more. So that was a little bit slow. I had to use shoulders and underbalance to catch the handstand, so let's do that again. So exactly the same. See, it locks into position straight away. And it's much easier to control back and forth because the shoulder is being the controller. It's not top heavy with the hip. So I lock that in. Obviously I could swap into other directions, and I could come out of it to my straight, return to my stag, and then just do combinations of all of them. Now, I've had quite a few people get their initial longest holds or their most consistent holds in either the split stag, so the one-legged stag, or the double stag, but I do encourage those people to go straight as soon as possible and still do more straight handstand conditioning and balance drills on and off the wall, whether that's heel pulls and toe pulls, just because we want that straight to be our number one home position, and we don't want the hip flexor to become so involved with the movement we can't get rid of it. You see that a lot in yoga. You'll get people that practice on the mat from doing lots of yoga technique, and they'll pull up like this. So this hip flexor will become very involved in all the movements, and then it's really hard to get rid of, and it's a hard, bad habit, especially if you want that dead straight handstand. So let me know your thoughts on the stag handstand, whether it's the double stag, the single leg stag, or anything in between. And I'll speak to you next time. Thanks, guys.